Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. And wow, this is the first. Well, I did just upload the Fortnite video. If you haven't watched that already, check it out. But this is the really the first video I'm actually intentionally recording for this channel since the two clip videos about a year ago that popped off. So just quickly, I want to say thank you if you watched those videos and if you subscribed to this channel through those videos. I know I gained a few subscribers from that, but today I am doing I believe it's the fourth year in a row. I'm doing my NBA mock draft, and again, I preface this every time. I'm not an expert. I just watch the game, and these are just where I think these guys could go based on me looking at their rosters and how I think they're going to be and how they're going to fit. I don't know anything. I will have opinions. I may not be right. I know a couple years ago, though, I wasn't high on Rize, and bang, he sucks. But also last year, I was low on Knipple, and he could have won Rookie of the Year. So it's just basically a crapshoot. But you know what? Why not? I criticize other people's sports takes, so you can't criticize if you don't have your own. So first things first, 2026 draft, one of the strongest drafts I can remember, and it starts with the big three, and there's a debate of like who's going one, DeBonsta, Peterson, maybe even Boozer. I don't think there's a debate. I know it's a likely choice, so I'm not saying anything crazy here, but it's going to be DeBonsta. He is an absolute athletic freak. I add notes just like absolute demon. I'm not going to do notes for all of them. I don't even think it counted. But hello, okay, here we go. 20,000 characters. That's a lot. But yeah, I think he will be. I think he's similar to Anthony Edwards coming in, where a lot of the questions are about his shooting. And obviously, you've seen with Ant-Man that's not been a huge issue, as this thing is being very slow right now. But yeah, DeBonsta at one, absolute demon. And two, this is also, I guess, a debate between Peterson and Boozer. I know, I think, obviously, Karen Boozer's dad, Carlos Boozer, is part of the Jazz, as like front office. But I think here you got to go DP here at pick two. I know his concerns are, he had those injury concerns at Kansas and also maybe some other things because, felt like times he would intentionally want to sub himself out. Felt like sometimes he was lying about his, actual, availability just so he wouldn't have to play. Kansas is better without him playing. But at the end of the day, he is a better fit for the Jazz because they already have Jaren Jackson Jr., Walker Kessler, Lauri Markkanen, and you don't want to clog up the bigs that much. So you take a guy who he could have potentially be the best player in this class, but I think he has more question marks than DeBonsta, which is why the Wizards will go him. But Peterson, just unbelievable talent as well. He may be the most talented player in this class. He's just not shown as much as DeBonsta. And then we round out the big three with the Grizzlies. And while I do think there's a chance Boozer could go as high as one, I just don't see the Wizards or the Jazz at two passing up the absolute insane potential the other guys have. And Boozer still himself is a great prospect. I'd say most classes he's consensus first overall. But in this class, he's just going to go three. I think he fits well with the Grizzlies. He will fit right in between Cedric Coward at the three and Zach Edey at the five. I think he will work very well as the four. I do not think he would work very well as a five. He's obviously, he's not a small fellow, but at 6'9" against NBA level centers, he would probably struggle. And in college, he did struggle. Like in the ACC tournament against Virginia, Uganda Nienso basically blocked every shot he went up with when he went on him one-on-one. So he's definitely struggled against the lengthy 7-foot guys. But you put him at the four, he can be be dominant. But again, I don't like Duke, so it may be biased that I, yada yada. But he definitely isn't going to be a bust, but I don't think he's a surefire thing as the first two. Then at pick four, this is the first pick where there is maybe some bit of consensus, or not consensus, a bit of, questioning of who goes here. But I'm pretty sure everyone also knows pick four. This is the first things I've heard about trading rumors for the Bulls. But I think you take who you got. You take Caleb Wilson, who he missed the end of the season last year with the hand injury, but the talent also is just there. I mean, the only concerns are maybe that 3-point shot, but he's taller than Boozer. He's very lanky. This is the first player that Kentucky actually played against this year. And granted, while North that was one of the worst basketball games I've watched, good lord, that game sucked between both teams. He was phenomenal. He had this insane spinning shot. Like, he went up for something midair, realized it wasn't going to work, and then spun out of it and hit a shot. Just the talent is there. He could compete with the top three for most talents in this class. Like, the top four is insane. Again, this is a guy who could maybe go one in a weaker class. Like, 2 years ago, this man is won by a country mile over Reza Shea. And finally, it's the wrong logo there. I was about to say, Bulls aren't picking twice. Finally, we finally hit, our finally dip off. The top three is an insane mountain peak. Then Wilson's a slight dip. Now we're going down. Not saying these guys aren't good, but this is firmly where the draft starts to taper off a little bit, but the talent here is still insane. And yeah, I don't want to just go full chalk here on ESPN's board, but I do think they take Wagler here because the Clippers have their starting point guard is Darius Garland, who's a bit undersized, so they're not going to draft Acuff and have two small guards. Yeah, they could always trade Garland, but they've only had him for half a year. And, all these guys are small. Immense there, but he is definitely a raw prospect. So, yeah, Wagler's your best bet. The only thing is, he wasn't expected to be great last year. He was like the 80th ranked guy, and he came out of nowhere and was phenomenal as a freshman for Illinois, team that went to the Final Four. He may take some time to cook, but he could also produce instantly. Again, this is a guy I don't know too much about him. He is obviously a dog. I do think Acuff was better this year than him in college, but that 3-inch height difference matters a lot in the NBA, especially with fit. And the Clippers are a team, they may get rid of Kawhi and may keep him. Who knows? I feel like this guy, no matter what you want to do, he's your pick. If you want to rebuild, he's your pick. If you want to try and be decent this year, he's also your pick. Maybe if you're going for a full-on rebuild, you maybe go for a mince. But yeah, Wagler. I actually hate it's 6 is the Nets. The Nets, one of the teams. I hate how it's exactly what I'm going to go with because I'm going to go Acuff here for the Nets. And honestly, the height concerns are real. But as we're seeing in the NBA Finals, the Knicks, with a undersized point guard, Jalen Brunson, are now a game away from winning the Finals. Again, I don't see the fellow New York team, the Nets, being a championship team soon, but you never know. And it could start with getting your own Brunson. Darius Acuff was maybe the best point guard in college basketball this year. The only concerns he really has is defense and size, which, we've seen smaller guards who don't play good defense in the NBA succeed, but the teams usually aren't that good. Trae Young, obviously he made a conference finals with the Hawks, but there was really no threat of them winning a title. But you are the Brooklyn Nets. The draft gods did not weigh in your favor. They made you fall to pick 6. You take the guy left who probably has the most potential, a guy who could be a star. Who cares about the concerns? You take him here. You probably are getting rid of Michael Porter Jr., who's your next best player. And I know you have a bunch of guards already. You have Ben Serif and Agor Dimon. You just take the best player available if you're the Nets here. And the Kings, I think this may be the first one I'd differentiate. I think the Kings are probably going guard. I've heard rumors about trading Sabonis. And yeah, they have a lot of, oh boy, that is a rough roster. Not in terms of talent, obviously, but these contracts, man. Zach LaVine, Domantas Sabonis, who'll get traded. DeMar DeRozan, aging. DeAndre Hunter's a solid defender. And yeah, you really don't have a point guard. I mean, Devin Carter's not really done much. Neat Clifford's too young. Dougie McBuckets, Markelle Fultz. Half of these players I feel like probably already been on this roster. I don't even see Russell Westbrook anywhere. Yeah, really, there's not much to look forward to if you're the Kings, aside from Maxine Renewed. Sorry, I don't say it. I should know his name by now. He was a really good rookie, top 5 rookie this year. But the Kings, you'll take anything maybe that isn't a 4 or a 5. Again, the rumors of the Sabonis trade may go through, and they could go Kingston Fleming. out of Houston. He was really good this year, but there was also a few times he was, struggling to hit some shots in some games, especially in the tournament, that absolute collapse they had. Michael Brown, obviously. I mean, people hate when you say this, but when he's on fire, he's on fire. Very talented. And this may be a shock to everybody. I rock Kentucky Blue. I'm going to have them take Michael Brown out of Louisville. He missed a few games this year with similar things to Peterson. A lot of people questioned if the injuries are legitimate, and then they shut him down at the end of the year. But the talent is definitely there. He's not as small as Acuff. I don't think he was as good as Acuff. But I just think Flemings is probably a solid chance he could be the pick here. But honestly, this is partially because I want to differentiate from the thing. Again, it's my mock. I do what I want. It's either Flemings or Brown here. I can almost guarantee that. And now, whoopee, this is supposed to be the Pelicans pick, but it's not anymore. We traded it. At least Derek Queen could be good. I said I liked him last year, but... So, yeah, the Hawks, again, they could really take anything, honestly. Because they have good players at every position, but they don't have anyone irreplaceable. LOL, first overall pick, by the way. Like, McCollum obviously was a lot better probably than expected. It says he's UFA, so maybe he won't be here next year. But obviously you're good with 3 for the future. Dice can play pretty much the 1 or 2. He's very tall. I don't know if they go Flemings. I think the Hawks are going to go for the project Nate Ament. And if they go Nate Ament here, I'm fine with what the Pelicans gave up to get Derek Queen last year. Because while Ament does have potential, his game, I think, is similar to Kevin Durant. Last year on Tennessee, he was it exposed him a bit sometimes. While he always had games where he looked phenomenal. I mean, 39% shooting, he's a bigger guy. You probably want that to be better. He's not very physical either. But if he can get his game to even half of Kevin Durant, you'll take that 8th overall. But again, the physicality is a huge issue, and the shooting percentage sometimes he can be a bricklayer. And Rick Barnes does not produce, he really doesn't. He hasn't produced any good NBA talent since KD. So yeah. And now the Mavericks at 9. This is a pick where I'm very confident in. They're going Braden Burries. Burries may not be the hottest name of the guards in this class. I'm actually shocked Flemings, I've let him fall this far. But the Mavericks, I think he's a honeymoon fit for them. I didn't even think about this because you got Cooper Flagg, who can run the 1 at times. He can also be your 3, and I feel like you need a good shooting guard to fit in there. You have Kyrie Irving once he comes back from injury at your 1, so there's a perfect mix between them. At the bigs, you have PJ Washington still, and you have Derek Lively. So you're not going to go Flemings, even though Kyrie Irving isn't a spring chicken anymore. I don't think you go Flemings here. You go with the guy who could just be your plug-and-play guy. Obviously, Klay Thompson isn't getting any younger. So I think Burries would be a great 6th man. He can be like Dylan Harper was for the Spurs this year, with the exception of believing you're Michael Jordan sometimes when you drive it in the paint. Sorry, I had to get the Dylan Harper dig in. De'Aaron Fox, by the way, what was he doing? And now the Bucks at 10. The team who probably most likely than not will not have this freak of nature come this season. So they are going to have a big Greek hole to fill on their roster. And they could go Flemings. Can they show me? It says they have a high need for. I want to see. Who do they even have? Kevin Porter, Ryan Rollins. I guess he could be a 1 or a 2. They could take Flemings here. They could also take Adai Mara. And honestly, the Bucks haven't made many great decisions the past few years. The Dame trade, I'm not going to really blame them for that much due to injury concerns. But you just got rid of Chris Middleton. You bring in Miles Turner, and that's not worked perfectly by far. You have Kyle Kuzma. This roster, Ryan Rollins was a good find, but this is going to be a dire team once you get rid of Giannis. And if you don't get rid of Giannis, he's just going to be wallowing in filth. So, yeah, I'll just have them take Flemings. It'll be like, he slipped a few places, we'll take him here. I honestly do not think he'll be here at 10. Again, this could be Michael Brown. I can even say the see them taking a Mara, but I think they'll just take, best prospect available in Flemings. I don't have much else to say about the Bucks other than that because I feel like they'll be pretty poopy next year, TBH. And pick 11 Warriors, they need everything. The Warriors, obviously an aging core. Curry, Jimmy, Draymond, all at the ends of their careers. Basically, Curry's got a couple more years. Jimmy, maybe a couple more. Draymond, once Curry's gone, he's got nothing. Steve Kerr signed that extension, but they're definitely going to still try one more shot to go and get it. Yeah, this is outdated. Look at this, brother. Were you serious? Why is he here? Jonas Jerebko. My goodness. Matt Barnes. Why am I looking at Matt Barnes? Anyways, nonetheless, I think they're taking a Daimara here. I mean, the Spanish god himself, 7'3", elite passing ability. Obviously, everyone thinks big man who passes Jokic. And you know what? I don't hate that comparison. And the Warriors, this is something I was thinking about before. They have not had in the Curry era like a really elite five. Their best five they've had in that era has been Andrew Bogut. And if they were able to give, I mean, they have Porzingis now, who was pretty solid at the end of the year last year. He could end up being something as well. But if you could play Mara and get him maybe prepared to take over that role, you could put Porzingis at the 4. Draymond probably won't come off the bench, but Mara feels like a weird fit for the Warriors, but also, like I said, these guys are getting old. You're going to need a culture shift soon. With Kerr not being here longer, I think the Warriors front office will be smart enough to know you take this guy. I think this guy could be a star. He could end up being a top 5 player in this class. So take him here at 11, which, yeah, I mean, I don't think he's taking this. Maybe Phylon. Phylon is the other guy who they could take here. Actually, now think about it. If they want to win, like if they actually believe they have a shot this coming year, take Phylon. And they feel like he could put them over the top, yeah. But then other than that, take Mara. You still could be good with Mara. I just think he's a better pick for your future. And the Thunder at pick 12. This is another one where a lot of people have been saying it. I think it's an obvious pick. They're probably go Yaxel Lindenborg if he's here. Another big guy who can pass, just like Mara, I forgot to mention. Helped Michigan win the national title. Yaxel, though, is better, but the only concern is he's old. I don't even know if he's 22 years young. That might be nice. We gonna find out. 23, yeah, turned 24. Yeah, that was a nice estimate there. But the Thunder are a team who very easily could have, repeated this year as champions, lost that game 7. And if you add Yaxel, you're obviously in win now territory. He could be your perfect. I don't even think he's a replacement. Maybe Hartenstein you get rid of. I feel like maybe the one concern is. I mean, I'm not saying he's not physical. He's definitely more physical than I meant. But him and Chet down there, it just feels like it would not be, ideal. But yeah, that's just. Whoever Presti goes with, though, he's going to be a demon no matter what. Now I got the Heat, pick 13. And who they got? They got Bam, Tyler. This is another team they're not going to be Bucks purgatory next year, I don't think, but just the wallowing in mediocrity. And I think the one thing that's kept them up is Bam scored 83 last year. You might want to ship one of these guys. It says Pals unrestricted, whether that's true or not. The fans vote if it's real or not. Like, so many of these guys are just fine players. So, gosh, they could go anywhere that isn't a center. So I'm gonna go Phylon. This feels like a Pat Riley pick. Heat culture, baby. Woo. Go with a great point guard who can drive the ball, who can shoot the 3. Phylon, I mean, very compared to Acuff, I think he's very underrated. But 22 points a game? He's probably more polished than Acuff as well. I feel like he's probably not getting talked about enough. So, yeah, this would be a good value pick here, I think. I think he's ranked a bit low. I don't think Steinbach should be that high. All right, Hornets. We top off the lottery here. Hornets have, I think, 2 picks very close together. Some of these guys I'm about to remember. Return to college. The Hornets, this is where the needs look at. They need a 5. There they go with the boy. The Hornets are a team who I think are very close. They're maybe, like a step away from being a step away, I think, from being a really good team. And you know what? It's my video. They take Jaden Quaintance. I do think Quaintance may go to the Hornets anyway, maybe with their next pick. But I understand if you look at these stats, you're like, gross. He only played 4 games. Just watch the St. John's game tape and ignore the other ones. The talent is definitely there. Like, he's big, he's physical, he would have been the best shot blocker we've had since Nerlens Noel, and I hate how he wasn't able to be healthy the whole year. But the talent is definitely there. That's why I think the Hornets may use their second pick they have on him, but I'm having them take him here as their maybe franchise center. I think he may be a bit better suited for the NBA than Sanak, even though Sanak went through, played for Kelvin Sampson, so that definitely helps. Then we're out of the lottery here at the Bulls at pick 15. They just took Caleb Wilson, who could be a 3 or a 4. So let me get a look at Karam Lopez here. He's not very big. Oh, no, I didn't mean to click on especially him. I'm going to have to take Hayden Steinbach here. I know I just said I don't really. I mean, freaking 18 and 12, though, is very, very good. But Washington was not a very good team last year. I'm saying this when 2 of my players, Kentucky next year, is from Washington, but that's neither here nor there. So a lot of these stats may feel a bit hollow. Maybe you blame the coaching, I don't know. But this is one of the first guys. I will be honest. I do not know much about him. I did not watch much Huskies ball this year. But those stats are good, and he's a big guy. I think Bulls take him. And it's like he could be the 5, maybe the 4. Caleb Wilson. I actually like that as a big duo of the future for them. Now the Grizzlies already took Cameron Boozer. It says they need a shooting guard, but here's what I'm going to do. It says they don't need a point guard. That's a lie. I think Jaw's getting shipped probably before the season starts. So why not get your replacement? And one of my favorite players in this class, Christian Anderson out of Texas Tech. No, he didn't. He was injured some at the end of the year, but he didn't get season ending like JT Toppin did. But he's a great 3-point shooter. They don't have his stats for 3 here. But he could be, he's obviously not Ja Morant in terms of just absolute genetic freak ability. But if you're going to trade Ja and you need a point guard, he is the best point guard you're going to see the rest of this first round. And again, I don't think Braylon Mullins is. Did he come back to college? Am I crazy? I don't know. Hang on. Checking this. Braylon Mullins. I don't remember. Okay. Here's what we're gonna do. He didn't make a post about it. Whatever. We'll just assume he's staying in the draft because he's this high up. The only thing that gets me questioning is that Krivos is on here and he returned to Arizona. But the Thunder got another pick. I think this is where Karam Lopez goes off. Again, this is a guy I don't know much about, but he's 11th ranked overall. So yeah, we'll have him take him. He could be a nice bit of relief for J-Dub. As obviously they don't need a guard. They already have Shea there. It says they need a center. So maybe they take a center here. Maybe they take Sanak. And this is where I think Charlotte's likely would have taken Quaintance. But again, bias made me take him there. So here they can really, I've seen a lot of, things. A lot of them have been Morez Johnson, who has jumped up big, obviously, probably since, this thing was made. He will definitely probably go higher than I have him going. But here I'm going to have them taking a nice relief for either Kobe White or LaMelo. Bennett Sturts. one of the, he's one of the older guys of this class, but he carried Iowa on his back all year. He is an Iron Man. He can play the entire game for you if you need him. He's a really good shooter. He hits some ridiculous shots sometimes. I know he isn't that, eye dropper or jaw dropper, eye pop out prospect, that get you really excited, but he will go somewhere in the first round, and I'm a fan of his game. I'll have him go to the Hornets here. I'm sorry, Hornets. I'm making my bias your draft. That's what my team used to be called, the New Orleans Hornets, so I'm living through you. As now, I'm going to try and speed this up a bit, because I do not want this video to be Oppenheimer length, and I'm starting to feel like it might be. I haven't looked at the recording time in a minute, but yeah, let's try and speed this up. Raptors, they probably, yep, Jakob Poeltl, yep, take Chris Sinak. Like I said, geez, those assist numbers are nothing. Do not need to pass the rock. Yeah, you need a big. His rebounding got better and better. He can shoot the three as well, even though he probably didn't shoot as well as he could have. Sinak. Spurs. Oh, wow. Spurs picked 20 because of Atlanta. I did not know about that. Well, Spurs, they might need a point guard because of somebody, but yeah, they do have a plug there for Dylan Harper. But after what we saw, you're seeing in these playoffs, they could also use a backup five because they've had Luke Cornett in there. I feel like they want to. Oh, you know what? Isaiah Evans, get them another shooter. Go here. Get you a shooter. Some of the tough shots that man hit made me want to pull my hair out when I was hate watching Duke. Again, late first round. I'm not caring if I get these right or wrong. I almost never do. The Pistons. They're another. Played. Levert, yeah. Yeah. This is where I'll have Mullins go off the board. If he came back to college, it would have been Morez Johnson. So just keep that. I just couldn't find a thing where it said that. Philly. You are probably at the end of the Embiid era. Maybe not this year, but soon, and it's sad. PG's going to need a replacement soon, but I think for now, you stick with who you got. Drummond's actually a solid backup. You may look for a replacement soon, and I think with Edgecombe there, Cameron Carr, they went to the same college. There's no thinking this. You could take Koa Pete, but I think I'll give the hype Morez Johnson has been getting, along with the, definitely the talent there. The last bit of the Michigan national champions goes off here. Then now Atlanta, their second first round pick, I had them go Nate a minute earlier. It says they desperately need a 5. And with Krivos gone, I think Koa Pete here as a nice, maybe, developmental piece. Oh my goodness, developmental piece. Goes off the board here, maybe. Again, just a bunch of. And now the probable champions, the Knicks. Yeah, backup center wouldn't be bad. Again, though. Oh, wow, there's a. Oh, I was like, wow. So, all right, so yeah, okay, there's going to be a center run here at the late, probably. You know what they could? They probably want a big physical guy. And let's just take a look at back in college. Not really defensively. Condon's back in college. Would be a reach here. So then the Knicks would probably just go for best player available. Maybe a guy that can. Cameron Carr. Really nothing other than best player available there for me. This could be a trade candidate for New York. Now, Lakers. This is where the center run will probably happen. Now, who do the Lakers like most? Do they like the stretch 5 ability of Allen Graves? Vassar is very. I didn't really have much to say about Vassar other than he's just a better, offensive player. He's not an elite defender, but probably better than what Drummond was putting out last year. Graves does get you the stretch five ability, but I just think the Lakers just want. I mean, Vassar can shoot too. I don't know what I'm talking about. He can shoot decently. I think Graves is a better shooter though, but Vassar's taller. Lakers definitely go center there though. The Nuggets, pretty much the end of the line for probably anyone below these two. Maybe even just Jokic might still be around, but basically will take anyone here and get me off of that. That isn't competing for a starting position. I low-key like them taking Allen Graves here as your work across Jokic as a stretch four. He can kick it out to. This man almost became my nightmare in the NCAA tournament for Otega Oweh. Sent it to overtime. Pick 27, Boston. This is a team who would be willing to take about anybody because, you know, they try to compete every year. Sometimes the brain does not work, as many times this video has shown. Sorry, a lot of these guys came back to college. So Malik Thomas declared, so he's almost certainly going first rounds. Okori declared, so he's going okay. Boston goes. We'll say Malik. I was gonna go Swain. A lot of these guys I feel like could go higher than I have them going, but not everyone can go higher. Leak again. You know, the Robin to A-Cup's Batman at Arkansas last year definitely has the talent, but again, you know, definitely a project for the Celtics there. Timberwolves here. Yeah, with the struggles we saw at a good old Randall in the playoffs. What? Just the people you'll see still in these rosters. Like, I'm looking at Greg Monroe. Swain has not fallen to the second round, so I'll have him go here. He was probably up there with Chamon Mark as the two best players on Texas last year. I think Mark was a bit better in the clutch, but Swain, obviously very talented. He followed Sean Miller from Xavier. I honestly could see him falling second round in my head, but I think just seeing all the mocks have him going first round just definitely goes. All right, Cleveland, second to last pick. Yeah. Their best finish of a season without LeBron this century. But it just feels like there's nothing for them in the future. It's the price to pay for going with James Harden, man. I'll go with Corey here. I don't really know if there's a need here. Maybe as a backup to Harden and Mitchell, but he is definitely the best player available at this point, and he stayed in the draft, so you wouldn't do that if you don't think you're a first-round pick. And finally, Dallas at pick 30. They've already taken Braden Burries. I think it's likely they could take a 5 as your relief to Derek Lively. Could be Joshua Jefferson here. Maybe they go 4. Maybe 3. Hey, Milan, he came to Kentucky. I'm happy. Yeah, a lot of these guys already announced their return to college. So yeah, it's at least this is why I waited a while to make the video. So I at least would have a chance at some of these guys. I wouldn't hate Terrace Reed. So I will say either Jefferson or Terrace Reed here, maybe even Ejiofor, if you want the chance to maybe hit an occasional 3 there. You know what? Yeah, we'll end it off with them going with Zuby Ejiofor, last pick of the first round. Other options here, like I said, could be Joshua Jefferson, or I've already forgot who else I said. Oh, why am I on Yaxel? Hello. But I watch Yaxel tape, I guess. I go back. Okay, there we go. Absolute demo. But yeah, as you could tell, that was once again a very, very scuffed 2026 mock draft. They get Probably the first one was the most scuffed, and then they've gotten slightly better. But with this one and me at the end of the first round is basically like just throwing guys together. You get drafted. You get drafted. Is there a fit? Who cares? That'll do it for this 2026 mock draft. I hope you come back and realize, wow, he went 30 for 30. That's crazy. Thank you for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.